In order to understand ethics better, let's try to differentiate it with a broader discipline, which is philosophy. Philosophy comes from the Greek words philo and sophia, which translates to love of wisdom. Unlike ethics, which is focused on understanding good and bad, philosophy is the study of the most basic and profound matters of human existence. It explores the fundamental questions involving who we are and why we're here, and the concepts like the meaning of life, knowledge, morality, the existence of God, reality, politics, religion, art, linguistics. So basically, it is an inquiry and an attempt to understand everything. But you have to remember that while philosophy and philosophers acknowledge that there is no bounds to what can be known, they also embrace man's infinite desire to know. Now, the broadness of philosophy is best seen through the shift in concerns or varied approaches throughout history. First is during the ancient period, where the major approach in philosophy was cosmocentric or nature or universe-centered. During this period, the focus of philosophers is understanding the fundamental or primary unit of the cosmos and the relationship between man and the universe. What is the world made of? What is the role of man in relation to the universe? And if you have observed in your science classes, you will realize that the first philosophers are also the first scientists. Next is theocentrism during the medieval period, which is centered on understanding God and its nature. Who or what is God? Is there a God? What makes God God? The most prominent philosophers during this period are Saint Anselm, Saint Augustine, and Saint Thomas Aquinas. Then we have the modern period where the approach was anthropocentric or human-centered. The primary query that the empiricist and the rationalist are debating on is the origin of knowledge or how man acquires knowledge. The early modern period is dominated by two schools of thought, empiricism and rationalism. The empiricists argue that the origin of knowledge is sense experience, while the rationalists believe that it is reason which is a primary source and test of knowledge. Know the world by experiencing it through your physical senses, says the empiricist. But be wary of your senses because they will deceive you. It is only through reason that you will know, says the rationalist. In the latter half of the modern period, this is where Immanuel Kant attempted to end the debate with his a priori knowledge. Then finally, we have the contemporary period which focuses on existentialism. Existentialism is an answer to essentialism. As essentialism states that presence precedes existence, existentialism, on the other hand, argues that it is existence that comes prior essence. An existentialist argues that there is no preordained purpose for man. Rather, a man is born, experiences the world, absorbs what the world offers him, and eventually defines himself. It is man who chooses and creates his essence. The six major themes of philosophy are metaphysics, logic, epistemology, aesthetics, politics, and ethics. Metaphysics deals with the first principle of the universe and reality, those that are abstract, basic, and unchanging. Logic is the study of creating valid arguments and arriving at logical judgments. It teaches reasoning through the valid rules of inference. Epistemology is the study of the nature and scope of knowledge. It also talks about how knowledge is created and acquired. Aesthetics is the study of art and beauty. It is concerned with the nature of art and the beautiful. Politics deals with rights, the government, and its citizens. Topics that usually concern the political philosopher are politics, liberty, justice, rights, and the law. And finally, we have ethics, which is concerned with what is morally good and bad. However, one must remember that philosophy is a discipline that attracts more questions than answers. As you attempt to answer or move closer to the answer of a question, you realize that more questions will bother you. But you must keep in mind that these questions is a consequence of the act of philosophizing. Your questions and the quality of your questions does not only reflect the depth of your understanding of the complexity of reality and the universe, but also a manifestation of your actualization as a rational being.